everybody, welcome back. My name is Nathaniel Seymour. I'm an AM grad back in 2009 and back for another tutorial, which is animating character environmental interaction. And yeah, definitely nice to be back. And last time you saw me, I probably had my Halloween mask on, looking all creepy. And funny enough, that actually wasn't my Halloween costume. Here's a little fun fact right here. That's what it was. And I figured I might as well. Now you've seen it, so I guess I'll X out of it. So we really don't need that as part of the tutorial, but just a little FYI. And I'm going to remember to put my official extra layer on. Nothing too creepy about this, I hope. And yes, and this will be the tutorial for today. And what we'll be focusing on is, as always, overall timing. That's something I always pretty much include, and different types of environmental interaction, which also brings up different interaction techniques. So we'll be covering all that. And just to, just give you a little bit more about my background, if you've seen my previous tutorials, everything is the same, except at the top of my movie list, there's one I just recently finished called Alphas, which is basically sharks versus orcas. And I've seen the rough cut. I think it's a fun movie. Actually, I think it actually is coming out sometime this month, so hopefully so. So we got that. And so, first thing we're going to do is come up with our first version of Maya. I have 3 open right now, A, B, and C. And this is actually a little clip from a short that I did, a little personal project of mine. And so you can probably guess what kind of, what's the objective right now. This guy, the Imp Rock, I believe that's what he's called, is checking out this flower, which is a little bit out of his grasp. So he's thinking, okay, what am I going to do about that? And so far I just have him getting happy because he knows where it is. And then reaching up. And beyond that, he's going to do sort of what I've been referring to as down rooting. So if he can't climb up, then why not just grab the whole thing, yank it all the way down? And you figure he's a pretty big guy with extra long arms and extra huge hands, which is something else about this rig actually, because you probably remember his hands are a bit smaller and his arms are usually shorter. But funny thing is, ever since I saw this guy for the first time, I always pictured him being bigger than the imp twig. So I figured, okay, well, if he's not bigger, that's a miracle of the scale command. And same thing, like I said, with all these other limbs that we're working with. And so right now I'm using IK for this. So right now, yes, he reaches up. And also, in order for him to successfully downroot the tree, I have the joints that I've added to the actual tree, which, I mean, you can call it a tree, you could call it a beanstalk, whichever you prefer. And that I rigged up myself, and probably the most basic type of rigging possible, because all I really did was add a bunch of joints. So you notice how I have the IK controls as a possibility right here, so you can work with those. So in order for both of these to be selectable, I come over here, select joints also. So I figure the best way for him to downroot this bad boy is, well, actually just like I did right here, having both of them dragged down simultaneously. And, well, excuse me, actually no, excuse me. Well, I gave you sort of a spoiler alert just now. I selected the wrong one. I thought these were in order, but apparently not. A, B, and C. Oh, I selected C, so there I go again. I've done this before. Anyways, lesson for the day. Nobody's perfect. We're all just people. So, anyways, yeah, that one, which we'll be checking out later on. Yes, you can probably have a much clearer vision of how this this tree is going to look once it's actually been downrooted. So, take you a little bit back. He smiles, grabs on. Good, just making sure nothing happens beyond that point. And the last frame, the last key of him grabbing on, 1467. Well, actually, the absolute last one is his last finger grabbing on, which is 1469. So I think what I'll do is set that as the first key for the stump right here. Make sure this is the one that actually drags the whole thing down. Yes, it is. Good. 1469. Select the keys. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere until after that frame. So we have this selected, and then we also want to select this. Shift select, and also shift select this one. So, as far as how long it'll take, I say probably until 75. So they'll give it a good 6 frames, so that should be good. And for this one also, we want to make sure that we're not animating. When it comes to the translation, we don't want to use object, because that could go 3 different ways, because we have 3 different things selected. We have the stump in both of his hands. So the best way to ensure they all go the same direction, which thankfully is straight down, we want to choose world instead of object right here. So we have the Y translation right here. So we just move it down like that. And I think this might be about low enough. And notice, yes, also we might have to adjust a little bit more because the hands grab on at different times. So now, as a result, they come down at different times. But before we do that, let's just look at it in real time, see how it looks. And something else I think we want to do is give a little bit more of a beat before he actually yanks down. And FYI, you probably saw that in my later version anyway, so I might as well stay loyal to that version while we're here. So that being the case, maybe we can have him actually not go down until 1480. So then naturally this guy, say it lands about 1485. So what we're going to do is move this, just like that, 1485. And then the last frame we're going to copy, so everything holds that position for his wind-up frames, we'll call them. Copy this. We have it paste over here at 1480. Let's see what the tree did, but the hands, somehow I must have accidentally deselect. Oh, no, they're still selected. That's right. Interesting. Let's check out the graph editor. One thing we don't want is this kind of translation. We want something more like this. Oh, actually, it's probably this. Here we go. Let's see what happens when we switch this. And also this. Yep, sometimes when it copies, it has that funny, dramatically curved angle, which might be screwing things up here. Alright, so what we're going to do is deselect this for right now. It's doing what the stump is doing what it's supposed to do, but the hands are not. Somehow they did not copy, so we'll copy them separately. Like this, copy, and then 1480, paste. Well, one of them did. Oh yeah, well. Another way to do this one over here. Oh, look at this. Well, it didn't copy at all. How weird. Well, I guess when all else fails, just copy and paste everything individually. There we go. So now he grabs, holds on for a little bit, then yanks down. Just for the sake of having a halfway decent pose, I might as well take the rest of his body down right now. Since, since it looks kind of funny with just his hands going down. So, I think I'll have him probably get up on his toes a little bit when he's winding up. The way to do that is to select these controls in the back. So he's raising up a little bit, and we go to the front roll, foot roll, and have him get up a little bit, and in this case he's going a little bit through the environment. So we roll him a little bit more. There we go. This one hopefully is a bit more better planted on the ground. Thankfully, yes it is. There we go. So he grabs, and then while he's winding up, he's also going to, I already have him moving up. I think I'll also have him rotating forward just a little bit. I'll have this part of him go up a little bit more. And And then this part go up a little bit more too. Because that's a nice thing about these fantastic looking creatures right here. They're a little bit more cartoony, so there's a lot more you can get away with when it comes to physics. So, like that. So then all this is going to come back down, starting with the feet. So now the foot roll is officially at 0. Then we want to come down low enough so that the knees at least bend. I figure if you're yanking something down this big, you gotta use, yeah, that's all the question. Do you use your legs or do you use your back? And of course, with a cartoony guy like this, maybe even both. Who knows? Whichever one looks better, I think. And a lot is going to be put into this right here. Also, one thing you have to be careful of is everything squashing together down at the bottom. Yep. One thing I actually do is scale this out a little bit. Just a little. Also, since both his arms are in IK, definitely don't forget the elbows. And something else I'll have to do. Well, actually, no. Oh, yikes. What happened here? Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of things I forgot to add keys to. I added keys to the translation, but not the rotation. My bad. So there we go. And sometimes a pretty good strategy is just to hit S, just select everything, set a key for everything. Sometimes do that, sometimes no. So we have this where it should be. So then by the time it's done pulling down, just the elbows, the way they're supposed to be adjusted. There we go. So, up there, it does a little bit of wind up and then pulls it down. Swing it very roughly, so we're going to fast forward a little bit. And this time, hopefully I fast forward to the correct one. I just seriously open these up, A, B, and C, but now there's C, A, B, cab. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe I need to sell my car. I don't know. But here we go. B. So now in this case, we have him dragging it all the way down. You'll notice some of the interactions that we just started adding. These are these first two elements right here, the roots and the ground edges, as I've been referring to them. And but yeah, these are actually pretty basic. You have them. They just go up. Whenever the roots come down, or excuse me, whenever the tree goes down, the roots come up. And that's also another thing, really open-ended when it comes to imagination, because aside from this character having a lot of artistic freedom because of how cartoony he is, since I've never actually seen a tree down-rooted, you can also use your imagination a lot more with that whole thing. So, what I do is I have the roots just coming up, and these right here are a bunch of just, cubes that I've, manipulated a little bit using the vertex, and have a whole bunch of them around here. And let me see, I'll actually, there we go, zoom out with this a little bit. And you'll notice how, if you look around here, you don't actually see the edges all around every single root, and the reason for that, obviously, is because only so many of them are on camera. That's all I'm focusing on right now. So, yanks it down, and I've also done some secondary action right here with the flower. And once again, this is all... let me just deselect this. It's all joints, so it moves very, very basically. No IK. And because of that, with this particular clip from the film, what I usually did was animate the flower first, because when it comes to adjustments, it's a lot easier to do so with IK, which this character has, but once again the flower does not. So if I let this whole thing play through, then he yanks down on it, and the flower is doing his secondary action, and then his second way of interacting is smelling the flower. And of course the flower is moving very basically right now. So what we're going to do is just have him reach up for that flower a little bit. And he's already starting to do that. And one thing I always have him doing, I mean, I don't know if this is typical, but I think usually whenever I smell a flower, I'd want to not really grip it because I don't want to hurt the poor thing. I would just use my finger to sort of, balance it so I can, position it accordingly. So that's what I have him doing. And his finger, I figure, can go up right about here. And then just moves up a little bit. And the flower, he pretty much goes along with whatever the flower is doing, because right now he's just about to sniff it. Go. And just as he's getting ready to sniff, one thing I have not done with the flower yet is have the interaction of the flower actually being sniffed. And what I mean by that is whenever he's doing that, it goes right about till here, and this is actually when I start scaling that part of the flower. So let me just select the key right here so it doesn't scale prematurely. And whenever he starts sniffing, I have it scaling like this right here. So then, the beauty part with this is, instead of copying the other frame of it before it started being sniffed, I can just set it back to 1. So whenever he's sniffing it, it does that. So that's like I said, that's the very, very basic type of interaction that we're doing. And another way we're doing this with this interaction is also having the twigs fall. And those are right there on the ground. I already have them falling. So that's pretty basic stuff. And also something else that's going to be happening whenever a tree gets downrooted, one can only assume, is a bunch of rocks are going to be bursting out of the ground through the cracks. So here, this will actually give you a few flashbacks of your first ball bouncing assignment, because what I did was just place them wherever they're going to end up, right here. And then what I do is I select one of these, and as soon as this comes down, I think this probably would start spewing out right about now. And then once it's spewed out, maybe let's say it takes about 15, 16 frames to end up where it is, so I'll select my first key right here. Then, have it start about 1504, then move it over to where it's going to be spewed out. I think that'll be right around here. All right. Select everything, and then have 1 or 2 frames of it actually coming up out of the ground. There we go. So then, comes out here, ends up about there. See how that looks in real time. Alright, looks okay, I think. Maybe slow it down just a bit. Like about... there we go. Okay. So then, I'm going to select every, pretty much divide up into a bunch of sections where it's going to bounce and also roll. So I think actually what I'll do is while I have before I have all those additional keys in the middle of it bouncing. What I'll focus on right now is it rolling. So let's see. Because like in some cases, I could just select one of these and it rolls the way I want it to. This is close, but I'm not sure. Let me try the other ones. Nope, certainly not that way. And this way, no, not really. Well, actually, no, this one, yeah, this looks okay. We can get away with that. So let's see. And this is the thing, pretty much eyeballing it, seeing like what style of rolling makes the most sense, and this one seems to make a lot of sense for this. So then that's where you add the sections in between where it's going to bounce. In this case, I'm really not going to bother adding anything to like the rolling, excuse me, the rotation or anything else aside from the Y axis, because that one has them moving up and down. That's all we worry about right now. So let's say one here and one. As it starts slowing down, it starts bouncing a little bit more. So run here and then maybe one here. That should be enough, I think. So then just making sure every one of these makes contact with the ground, like it should. And just make sure this guy's bouncing up and down, up enough. I think it's all right. I think, yeah, something will actually enhance this first bounce a little bit more when it's spewing out of the ground. And then, important thing is to take these, of course, I'm sure everyone knows this, take these and either set the tangents this way, or to customize a little bit more, break it, and then select these two, make it as sharp as you want. So, he downroads it, and then first rock rolls out. What I actually have this one doing is maybe settling a little bit after he's done rolling. So what I'll do is just rotate him a little bit back and move him a little bit back. I think I'll actually stretch that out just a little bit more. So we can actually roll a little bit more first. So right now he's done going up and down. As far as the rolling, however, goes a little bit further. There we go. Okay, a little bit quick, but pretty much get the idea. So now we're going to fast forward again. Last time, I promise. And I also promise I'll fast forward once again to the correct one, because it's the first one I went to at the start of the tutorial. So, here's the... Oh, and this, if you're wondering what this is, this circle is the... this is the reference for the fade-out circle at the end of the short that I did. So I'm just going to hide that. So here it is. He yanks it down. The rocks spew out. And there's the flower. There's interaction number 2. Let me just wait for this to preview so it can play a bit smoother. And then he sort of pushes it aside. That's something else I pretty much animated first with the flower. And then he interacts with that. And you'll notice how the twigs also fall down. So those are pretty much the interactions right here. They're all except for one, because I also took this into After Effects and added a little bit of smoke, because I figure with the downrooting between the roots, you know, coming up, and the ground cracking, the twigs falling, and the rocks being spewed out, there's also going to be some smoke, dust, whatever you want to call it. So here's the final shot of that. Oops. Let me try This happens when something's been minimized for a bit and just sitting on the screen for a bit too long. Here we go. Happy downloading time, and smoke comes up and everything else. Now it has the background and a nice little pixel motion blur, which always looks nice. And if you're wondering what his reactions to the flower is going to be, I'm actually going to be covering that in my next tutorial, so this will be picking up pretty much where this one leaves off. It'll be covering something different. So right now, yeah, that's it for right now. This is our interaction, and I hope it was enjoyable, and hopefully I didn't send anybody back too far going to the wrong Maya again. I'll just have to really double check next time. So anyways, thank you for watching, and everyone enjoy yourselves, and happy animating as always. Bye.